All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're going to uncover how a small, almost unseen Swedish mail-order business transformed into the absolute largest furniture retailer in the entire world. It's an incredible story of relentless innovation, extreme affordability, and most importantly, breathtaking simplicity. So whether you're an entrepreneur looking for a masterclass in scaling, or just someone who's spent a Saturday afternoon wrestling with an Allen wrench, we've all been there, right? The mechanics behind this global empire are absolutely fascinating.
Think about it for a second. How did one really simple idea completely change the way millions of us furnish our homes? It forces us to pause and kind of contrast today's reality with the past. We are so used to those massive, iconic blue and yellow warehouse stores, the bustling showrooms, families navigating those giant aisles with flat boxes. But it definitely wasn't always this way. To understand the sheer scale of how this company completely flipped the furniture world on its head, we have to look past the massive global footprint they have today and go all the way back to some incredibly humble origins.
Because before the sprawling international warehouses, and of course the famous meatballs, the origin of this massive enterprise was shockingly small. Just picture rural Sweden in the 1940s. We are talking about a young, incredibly driven teenager on a simple bicycle riding through the countryside. And he wasn't delivering sofas or dining tables, obviously. He was delivering matches, pens, just small, everyday household goods. That was the seed. Literally just one teenager, one bike, and a relentless desire to sell useful things to everyday people.
Section 1. A bicycle and an idea. The origin of an empire.
So looking at how this unfolded, you can see Ingvar Kamprad possessed this sheer entrepreneurial drive right from the start. Back in the 1930s, as a young boy, he was just figuring out the basics of trade, selling those tiny goods to his neighbors. By the 1940s, he upgraded to that bicycle, expanding his rural delivery route, and that's where he really learned exactly what everyday people needed and, crucially, what they could actually afford. All of this groundwork, this direct, face-to-face connection with the consumer, it all culminated in 1943 when Kamprad officially founded IKEA as a mail-order business.
Section 2. The Flat Pack Revolution. Designing for affordability.
Now, as Kamprad's early mail-order business started to grow, he recognized a massive barrier. Furniture was just way too expensive for everyday people. The traditional model was, fundamentally flawed. Think about it. Furniture was bulky, it was fully assembled at the factory, and because it took up so much space, shipping it was an absolute logistical nightmare. Prices were sky-high because companies were essentially paying to ship empty air. IKEA's radical new approach shifted the paradigm entirely. They moved to affordable, flat-packed, and self-assembled products.
So what exactly are we talking about when we say flat pack? Well, it's defined by taking that simple, highly functional Scandinavian design and engineering it so it can be shipped in completely flat boxes. By inventing and then really leaning into this flat pack system, IKEA bypassed those exorbitant shipping costs entirely. And here is the real game changer. Rather than pocketing all that extra margin for themselves, they passed those massive savings directly to the consumer. It unlocked a level of affordability the furniture market had literally never seen before.
Which brings us to Section 3. Changing the retail game. The birth of self-service furniture.
To make this work, IKEA completely disrupted the retail experience by essentially shifting a portion of the workload over to us, the consumers. We all know the drill, right? First, you browse a beautifully designed showroom to get inspired. Second, you head down into that massive warehouse and you hunt down the flat boxes containing your items yourself. And third, you take it home and you assemble it. By having the customer act as the warehouse picker and the final assembler, labor costs absolutely plummeted.
But here's the thing. This self-service model, it wasn't seen as a burden. Actually, scratch that. It became an event. It totally revolutionized the global customer experience. Walking through those carefully designed, minimalist Scandinavian showrooms became this highly immersive activity. You could actually visualize your own home while walking through the store. This entirely new way of warehouse shopping, combined with interactive design inspiration, it set the perfect stage for the company to scale way, way beyond the borders of Sweden.
Section 4. Scaling a global empire. Taking Swedish design to the world.
And scale they did. This global expansion meant establishing a massive physical presence across multiple continents. They methodically moved out of Scandinavia and across Europe. Then they aggressively entered North America and eventually expanded into the massive, booming markets of Asia. What's truly incredible here is that their core offering, simple design paired with extreme affordability, it translated perfectly across entirely different cultures. The model was universally appealing. It allowed them to adapt to and completely conquer new markets without changing their core philosophy.
But to keep those prices low on a truly global scale, well, simply building more showrooms wasn't going to cut it. They had to relentlessly innovate behind the scenes. We're talking mass production at an unprecedented scale to drive down manufacturing costs. They obsessed, and I mean obsessed, over cost efficiency in every single material they used. They built this world-class global logistics network just to move millions of flat boxes seamlessly. And ultimately, they integrated major sustainability efforts, realizing that long-term efficiency absolutely requires responsible resource management.
And finally, Section 5, Lessons from the IKEA Model, Actionable Takeaways for Innovators.
So what's the big takeaway here? There are 4 core business lessons any focused learner or entrepreneur should pull from this explainer. Number 1, solve a real problem simply, like literally removing the empty air from a shipped box. 2, understand that affordable products don't just win a little market share, they can transform entire industries. 3, real innovation often comes from stripping away costs and reducing friction, not from adding complicated, shiny new features. And 4, a strong, consistent brand identity builds lasting global trust, no matter what language your customer speaks.
Honestly, this quote hits the nail on the head. IKEA didn't just sell furniture, it changed the way people think about home, design, and affordability. That is the true legacy of the company. When you look at millions of homes around the world, from college students furnishing their very first apartments to professionals creating these welcoming modern spaces, the impact is undeniable. They didn't just move cardboard boxes from point A to point B, they democratized good, functional design. They made a stylish, comfortable home accessible to absolutely everyone, regardless of budget.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. The IKEA story proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that sometimes the absolute biggest, most world-changing innovations come in the simplest, flattest packages. So take a look at your own work, your own business, or whatever you're studying right now. What complex, totally over-engineered problem is sitting right in front of you, just waiting for you to solve it simply today?